Mic. Camera. Action.
Let's fucking get it on right now. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Hang on. Hang on. Now, I want to go with a few rules with y'all tonight. Yeah, they ain't that hard. Don't worry about it. All right, rule number one. This is the what can you touch and not touch rule. Can you touch this? Can you touch this? No, 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 no. Second touch. Can you touch it? Can you touch it? No, 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 no. And finally, last one, ladies. Can you touch this? Can you fucking touch this? Well, that too, the law says that you cannot touch. But I think I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house tonight. And I don't see a cop in sight. All right?
Alright. Welcome back to Filmography, the show dedicated to watching every credited film from an actor's complete back catalogue, from past AB through to present day in chronological order. Each episode I'm joined by an esteemed guest to watch and discuss the next entry from the faker's filmography, and consider how it ranks amidst their career, and whether we can trace any typecasting trends or topic traits or theatrical tics. Today's returning guest for her first solo show is the enchanting Emma. Today's film is Steven Soderbergh's Magic Mike from 2012. We watch, you listen, and hopefully watch along too. So this is something new.
Yep.
This is something different.
It certainly is.
Live recording in person.
Yep. Speaking into a microphone.
Well, when I've done that
at
before,
our dining table.
Yeah. You appeared on the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah.
That's going to be the legacy sequel, How to Lose a Girl in 10 Days. But then I've managed to persuade you to come on just you and me for this one, which is quite an interesting one to do considering the topic and the content.
I think it was the allure of Channing Tatum that won me over rather than Matthew McConaughey, I'm afraid to say.
Well, yeah, it wasn't obvious as we were watching. But you did put your hand up quite quickly when you heard about the fact that I was doing McConaughey and that this was amongst his filmography, that you would be willing to talk about this one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but it's 14 years old now, so I'm not sure how well it's aged, but I have nice memories of watching it in a younger period of my life. There's
actually a film I'm going to take a big swing at and try and compare it to, and when we get there we'll see if you agree.
I'm guessing which one it is. Yeah.
And I reckon it's probably around the same period. Very different movies, very different content, very different approaches to what they're doing, but I reckon there's an era where you're into this kind of camaraderie type look at performance perhaps, but we'll get there. Something I want to do with you though that I haven't really done as much in this season of the show is talk a little bit about the actor. When I was doing the Staith, every episode when I had a bit more of a rigid structure, I'd kind of talk about like what's your relationship with the actor and how many of his films have you seen, and it doesn't need to be that rigid, but you've been alongside me through this whole journey through the Staith and through McConaughey.
You're not going to ask me how many Staith films I've seen, have you?
No, because you very much opted out of that 2-3 year period of my life, but you have been a bit more invested in this one. You have watched a few more with me.
Yeah.
What have you thought of the McConaughey movies that we've watched together so far, of the ones that you can recall?
So what was the detective one we watched? No, was it the lawyer one? Lincoln Lawyer. That's up there actually.
We've seen True Detective together.
We've seen True Detective. Am I allowed to talk about that? Because that's up and coming. So
yeah.
I'm not allowed
so
to
we will watch that together again when that comes back around. We've watched How to Gone 10 Days.
Oh, and that awful Sarah Jessica Parker film.
Failure to Launch.
Oh, God. So, sorry, what was the original question?
So, like, what have you thought of, like, your own little journey when you've dipped in and out of his filmography so far?
Yeah. Okay, good question. So obviously I've been dipping into more of like the romance and the comedic roles. But if I think about Matthew McConaughey as an actor, that's probably not how I define his trajectory or his career or his output, if that's the right word, his performances. But I just seem to be drawn to those genre of films and seem to have almost stereotyped him in my viewing of him. And actually, probably out of those films that we just listed, ironically, the one that I enjoyed the most was when he was at his most serious in Lincoln Lawyer. And we watched... What's the other one with Leo?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street as well, which you haven't watched it, have you?
No. Well, I have, but not for this podcast.
Yeah, not for this podcast. Like, I actually find him more endearing in those roles than I do when he's in something absolutely trash like Failure to Launch.
Yeah, Fool's Gold you attempted to watch with me as well, didn't you? And
I just
you couldn't hack it.
No, that was awful. But the other
Wedding Plan you fell asleep during.
Yeah, the other thing that like I don't know if you've ever seen this episode. He's in 2 episodes of Sex and the City where he's like in Hollywood being like an awful caricature of what I imagine he's like in real life, of like a terrible producer. And I hate those episodes because it doesn't quite ring true for him. Like it almost feels like overacting. And I know like we're probably going to talk about some overacting in Magic Mike, or at least I hope we are, because there is.
I don't know what you mean.
But they are just terrible like representations, or like caricaturesque representations of like what I imagine a Hollywood producer actually is like. So yeah, I haven't obviously delved into the 52 films that he's credited and starring in.
53 now.
53 now. Yeah, but I have to say that I think I've probably watched more of his romance, comedy, rom-com type movies, but they're never the ones I enjoyed the most.
No.
To summarise.
But now we're now we're in the true, what they coined the reconnaissance. He claims that he came out with that phrase. I'm sure he's right. He seems to have a pretty good memory for these key moments in his life and his career, as experienced in his autobiography. This is we're deep into the reconnaissance now. Sort of Lincoln Law is the arguably first. Then you've obviously skipped a couple because they didn't catch your fancy, and then you've come back for Magic Mike, and then you will continue with some of the stronger films as we go. So you're just aligning really with where he sees himself. This is who he sees himself as, not the pre-reconnaissance era. He did that, and I think he got some joy out of it. But obviously, after a while, he wanted to be a serious actor. He wanted to be a dramatic actor. He wanted to be. He wanted to show his chops a bit more, and we're definitely in that period. But here,
I didn't even know that, so now I feel smart.
Here, he is having a bit of fun for sure, and he opens the movie.
He opens the movie, and are we going in now, or are we diving in, or
yeah? Let's talk about Magic Mike.
He opens the movie, and it's. I mean, what were the words I wrote down? I think I wrote down the words iconic, and he's got your opening scene. He's being funny. He's being charming. I wrote down he's got an insane 6-pack. That 6-pack is effing insane.
It's true.
And then he opens with how you just opened your show.
Yeah.
You do it better than me. And straight off the bat, he is presented as the showman, the leader, the person that people revere, but he's not Mike. So it's a pure, what's the term I'm looking for? Like
surprise, switcheroo, I don't know.
Yeah, like when you're like, if we were doing a football analogy, if you're doing like a duck and a week, what's the thing I'm trying to describe?
I'm not sure.
It like the surprise to the audience is that he's not Mike. And I think,
right, yeah.
I mean, he's only on stage, it was seconds, right? 30 seconds at most, probably, that opening scene.
Yeah, maybe a minute, yeah.
But he's very captivating in that role, and he's very half naked. He's obviously done a lot of work to stand up there in that
shape. Well, I think he's always in good shape, isn't he? But I'm sure all of them were hitting the gym hard for this.
Yeah, that is not just your average workout on a daily basis. That is.
But I mean, we did say whilst we were watching the movie, didn't we, that he's 10, 15 years older than a lot of these guys on stage. But yeah, the shape he is in is ridiculous. But I think Woody Harrelson talks about him, about like he's got the best body in Hollywood and all this stuff. I love hearing those two guys talk together. But there's, I don't know how to describe it. There's just certain people, like we feel was about Timothy Oliphant as well. Like I think when people are this well in shape, there's like a toned and there's a leanness, but also like because he's quite tall, there's something to do with that kind of that actual particular shape to a man's body when they're working out like this. When we've gone through the MCU superhero era where everyone is super buff, but they're like big and muscly and brawny. Yeah. Whereas he's just like ripped, like zero
it's just
fat
all
and
stomach. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a bad looking dude. And that is exactly it, isn't it? That's why he opens the movie. It's because he is the big. I mean, Channing Tatum was a star by this point. He was a name; people knew him. But he is the big draw. He is the name of this movie, Matthew McConaughey. So you do need to open with him because that's the character he's playing. He's the guy who opens the show. So why wouldn't you open the movie? And you're right; it's very much. There's some words I've got written down from where he's like magnetic at this point in the movie, but then later on you do start to see some of that kind of menacing undertone.
Yeah.
We'll get there, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, the magnetism that he has. I don't know if there's much acting going on from these women in the audience. I mean, I believe all these extras were just kind of extras. They were just people who were like, come in, watch your show, we're making this film, and like, just come in and have a good time. And so I think, the joy that we're hearing in the voices and we're seeing on the faces, I think is pretty genuine.
Yeah. I mean, he's not like your average fat white man compare who goes on and introduces the pretty white boy, the pretty boys that come after. He's a pretty compare, basically.
Yeah. I mean, his character is the ex stripper, isn't it? Like he's had his arc. He's had his Magic Mike movie. We just don't get to see it. Yeah. He's had his. I'm desperately trying to come up with an alliteration for D quickly. He's a dashing Dallas. He's had that.
Yeah.
That was the prequel that we didn't get to see, and then here he's sort of moved up a bit. So he does take part when he wants to, but he's sort of moved on past that stage now, and he gets all the young bucks to do it for him. Mostly young bucks. There's that one character who Tarzan who boogies around in the background, not really doing very much, looking disinterested. But like, I think he's meant. I don't think that's the actor doing a bad job. I think that's the character he's supposed to be. Yeah. It lets you know immediately what movie you're going to be watching. Like men not wearing very much, but men who are magnetic, and women who are there to see that essentially. Obviously, there's big dance sequences littered throughout, and I'm sure you're going to gush about the talent of Channing Tatum, and rightly so as we go. That man does things with his body that I'm not sure I thought was possible, to be perfectly honest.
Really?
It's like a real life slinky where he makes his body move. I've lost my train of thought now, thinking about Channing Tatum's snake hips.
Pretty snaky.
Yeah. But you're right. There's the sort of meta moment that opens the movie, and he gets a few of those. I mean, he says all right.
He says it quite a lot.
A bit too much in this, I would say.
Yeah.
But there's a moment when he plays the bongos, McConaughey later on as well.
I felt like the opening felt right, and then it became too much of a trope.
Yeah.
It was overly used. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Soderbergh's an interesting director because he does this. He almost not quite one for them, one for me type director. But he does like big budget Ocean's movies and Out of Sight, and he does those kind of movies. And even if they're not big budget, but they've got big names. You know, he does his Aaron Brockoviches and his Traffics, and even when there's serious topics, his Contagions. He does like the Hollywood movies, but then he also does the proper indies and the movies where they're quite experimental.
Is it? You going to just about to tell me this is classified as an indie?
100%
movie?
This is indie.
Wow.
I mean, budget $7 million.
Okay.
Self-financed, so financed by Tatum and Soderbergh themselves.
And was this because Tatum, do we think he just wanted another Save the Last Dance he's in, isn't it? Or
No, he's in Step Up, I believe.
He's in Step Up, okay.
Not that I've seen it, actually, but
Okay, he wanted
alongside
another Step Up.
his former wife, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about this the other day, weren't we? Well, I think he wants to tell this story because also famously it's based on parts of his life that he experienced as an actual male stripper before he was an actor and a performer. And he initially wanted a director called Nicholas Winding Refn to do it, who's the director of Drive, featuring another favourite of yours, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, when are you doing his best hits?
But Refn wasn't available, essentially. So Tatum he was starring in a movie called Haywire. He had a small role in that, working with Soderbergh. So he was like, do you fancy this then? And Soderbergh was really up for it because it fit his kind of more independent, experimental, one for me, one for them type model that he was going for. I mean, you can see it in front of you here, and people who have looked up will know, 167 million it made at the box office. So that is already a ridiculous return for the amount of money they put in. But then we also know it's had 2 sequels. It's got a stage show. There was a reality TV show. I didn't know anything about it, so I was researching for this, where I guess they were auditioning people maybe for the stage show, I think. Okay. Like an X Factor type thing.
Yeah.
So, Tatum himself, this being based on his life and being a producer of the movie, but I guess Soderbergh as well, because of how much he directed it. These guys must have made an absolute mint from this.
So how much of that 7 million was McConaughey taken?
For the budget?
Yeah.
In this instance, he must have been turning up for nothing, basically.
Wow.
I'm imagining he's turning up for just a payday. But that's what he was doing in this point of his career. He's already made more than enough money to live forever, right? By this point, the movies he's been in and the status he received. I don't know if you've seen that interview. Famously, he talks about around the era before he got Lincoln Lawyer and he started doing these movies. He was offered this rom-com, but he'd said no, and so they kept coming back like every few months. And 2 years now he hasn't been working, and they kept coming back, and it was like 10 million, 11 million, 13 million, 15 million. He was like, well, when it hits 15 million, I was thinking about it, but he held his ground and then got the Lincoln Lawyer. So he doesn't need the money. Clearly, if he's turning that kind of money down, that's double the budget for this whole movie he turned down just for him. So he's just turning up for, I think they call it daily rate or something. I guess he's just turning up and doing because he wants to. I don't know that for a fact, but for 7 million, nobody's getting paid much for this, really. That's all gone onto the movie.
Yeah.
Tatum's taken no payday, I would have thought. That's all. He's probably got a nice back end deal. Yeah, it's an interesting one because I remember when this came out. 2012 was a busy year for me. My eldest was born, so I wasn't going out to the cinema and watching movies, and I guess I certainly wasn't going out and watching Magic Mike at the cinema because of the way it was marketed.
I was.
Well, but that's interesting. It was marketed as that movie.
Yeah.
As, for want of a better phrase, because I know this is a term people don't like, a chick flick, but one for the gals to go to the cinema. But it's not that. There is a lot more to it than just simple objectification of ripped men dancing.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a bit about it. What do you think? Why would somebody like Soderbergh have wanted to do this movie? Why did Tatum believe there was more of a story here than just dancing on stage?
So, in hindsight, one of the reasons I really wanted to watch this again was because I remember feeling that Mike's story did possess a depth to it. And I think when we came back to it and watched it now 14 years later, I was a little bit disappointed because I felt like in my mind, in my memories, like that storyline about him wanting to be a furniture designer and wanted to like move away from stripping and all these business and entrepreneurships, and like being a bricklayer or whatever. For me, that carried a lot of weight, I think, the first time. I think now I'm coming back at it with older eyes, more cynical eyes, maybe, I don't know. I don't feel like it was there, but it wasn't as much of a driving force as I remembered or wanted it to be. And I also just, like, didn't buy... Like, not once do we see him going back home or going to the beach and finding some driftwood or finding some, like... debris and making something. So it was all just very much like we're supposed to buy into this dream and this desire of his without actually seeing how much it means to him. Actually, the side to him that we see is very shallow, and I know that, like, you know, on Wikipedia it lists his love interest as what's his name, Kid's Brooke, yeah, sister, as his love interest.
Oh, yeah, the kid is, yeah.
And again, like, maybe it's through older, more cynical eyes, I just don't buy in a million years that she would be interested in Mike. And maybe you want to disagree with me, and that's fine. But, like, I just, like, I know it's a slow burner, and I know that we're supposed to, like, buy into, like, this idea that their romance is developing over a long period of time and it's a little bit, you know, a little cheeky and blah blah blah, but he is not an endearing character, I don't think, in the same way that I remembered and wanted him to be. There are endearing qualities, but, like, you know, and at the end he stood his ground with Dallas and he stayed behind and he, you know, went and made this play for Brooke, but, like, that was it really. I don't know whether you disagree with...
I don't know if I...
You look like you disagree with that.
No, it's interesting because the majority of criticisms online are of the actress that plays Brooke and
She's
of the
quite
actor
wooden.
that plays the kid. So that's Alex Pettifer, who I mentioned she was watching. Like, I'm sure that's the kid from the Alex Rider movie. He's obviously grown up a bit by now. The original Alex Rider movie that came out. Yeah, she's an interesting one. She's a little bit wooden. I don't think she's anywhere near as bad as most people make out. Like, she's unwatchable and all this stuff. She is the daughter of the president, the chairman. Let me double check this. I wrote it down. So she is, the daughter of the president of Warner Brothers at this point. So it's, you know, pretty obvious how she got the job.
Yeah.
But she did a chemistry read with Channing Tatum, and that's, you know, so they did their due diligence. And I think there is a little bit of noticeable spark between the actors. I think it's quite believable. We commented, didn't we, that she kind of looks a bit like
his ex-wife.
His ex-wife, yeah. Is it Jenna Dewan? Is that right? Is that her name?
Yeah.
So, but no, I agree with you. Like, the film itself amounts to nothing really. It's pretty shallow. I think it has ambitions, but it doesn't quite get there. I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, it doesn't bother me, their relationship. I think you can see. I think it's a very conventional story. It's an almost cliched story in that, you know, he's the diamond in the rough. He's the guy who, like, just the right woman finds him and she can bring out the good qualities of him and get him to see the errors of his ways. So it's that just a bit of a kind of tokenistic story that's been done before.
But equally, we don't really see what she would offer him. Like, she's so miserable and so grumpy the whole time. Like, even when they're on that beach day, she's still being miserable and grumpy even on the beach. So it's just like, it's not only from, like, her perspective in terms of, like, what she would see in him, like, you know, from a physical aspect.
You get it?
Yeah, get it. But vice versa, like, why would he, like, I mean, from the start he makes a joke about, like, the breakfast pancakes or whatever. He makes a joke of that, a running joke throughout, but, like, you know, there's a few little sly smiles here and there, but there's nothing really winning about her character either. So I don't buy into it from both perspectives.
Yeah,
like,
fair. It's not him and Kate Hudson, is it? Let's be clear.
Not Channing and Kate.
Oh no, sorry, yeah. Now I'm getting my actors mixed up. Who's Channing been when they've had good chemistry?
His wife in Step Up, yeah. That worked well.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing at all. But I think that aligns with my thoughts of the film in general, really. It is a pretty spectacle, but it's a pretty shallow spectacle, ultimately.
Yeah.
And I think that's a shame, because I think... And maybe that's why they ended up marketing it this way, because I think, you know, they were obviously aiming for something. They didn't quite achieve it, maybe. So I thought, well, we're going to have to sell it on the sexy dudes dancing then, because if people go along to this thinking they're going to see something that's deep and has a lot to say about capitalism and the state of America at this point, and that they're all the things it's kind of, you can tell that it's reaching for, it wants to talk about. You know, the fact that McConaughey's character is called Dallas is very telling, you know, the kind of southern states of rich oil barons, and you know that's all very deliberate, isn't it? But it just doesn't quite do enough for you to buy into that analogy either.
No, I would argue it does barely anything. To
you know, Tatum being that blue collar guy who's like having to do 3 jobs just to get by, but he has his ambitions and then really wants to be this creative, and you can see what it's trying to do. I understand what it's reaching for.
Yeah, but there's quite a lot of, like, I think I said to you at the time, it was really bugging me that he was carrying around all that cash. Like, there's no way in this day and age that he'd be like, it's just such a small thing, but it means that, like, and I think this is what you're alluding to, those bigger themes around capitalism and having to go to a bank for a loan and build your business and all of those things. It is there in the background, and how obviously banks champion those that are already, or almost already rich or already self-made in some aspects, and then we've got, you know, poor Mike who's trying his hardest, working 5 jobs or whatever. Again, we don't really see him working those 5 jobs. No. So we don't, also that's another thing that
one day of roofing
that we struggle to buy into, is this idea that, like, he is struggling to keep all these plates spinning, because what we do see him doing is partying, shagging, and taking drugs and getting kids into quite a lot of mischief at the age of a very unbelievable 19, because there's no way that man is 19 years old, or however old he's supposed to be. So it's, again, it's like you're saying, like we were both saying, it's so superficial that we don't really... Like, if they really wanted to take it away from just the stripping and the dancing and everyone having a nice time, they needed to develop those plot twists more.
Because there's not as much stripping as I thought there would be, I don't think. There's
a lot of dancing, isn't there?
I don't know. I think, you know, there's obviously the first scene when they come out with their umbrellas, it's raining men.
Yeah.
And then you get... obviously a couple of key Mike scenes, and you get a couple of montages.
You get one Dallas.
And you get one Dallas scene, which we'll talk about because he requested that. It wasn't in the original script, so McConaughey was having a real good time and wanted to make sure he got his moment. But yeah, you know, it's not wall to wall. It's not like non-stop, which I think the marketing made it look like in my memory. But when they do come, they are... I think those scenes are more successful than the attempt at drama, because they perfectly understand how to marry up the idea of this being showmanship, but also completely cringy at the same time. There's moments you're like, wow, like the skill that is being shown, and there's moments you're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable watching this.
So many cringy moments. And I think you asked me at one point, like, oh, like, you fancy that? And I just can't think of any...
have you ever been to cinema like this?
Have I ever been? Or would you want to? I can't think of anything worse than having someone's genital area thrust in my
this is...
like...
Is this revealing a bit too much on this podcast, perhaps? No, I know what you're saying. Somebody else's genital area thrusting. Yeah.
Like some
random
strange
strangers,
guy. He's
yeah.
like, but like also, I found it quite shocking, and I don't think it would wash now. Like 14 years later, like the strippers are quite physical, like with the women.
Yeah.
They're like, they really like force them into positions, like whether it's their legs or their head or their hands.
Yeah, there's like full on simulated sex.
Yeah,
points.
yeah, and I don't think that would pass at this day and age. But
yeah,
I think it's like those moments that everybody made. Well, not everybody. I'm sure some people enjoyed it, but like those are the uncomfortable moments. You know, Channing Tatum on a stage dancing does not bother me at all. I will watch that, you know, all day, all night. But like him thrusting someone else's face into his groin area, I'm not there for that. No, thank you.
No, it's an interesting, isn't it? Like, you know, my own feelings on that kind of event well. Not that we've been and gone and done it together, but, you know, over the years we've been together, you talk about these things and stag do's I've been on, and it made me remember, actually. I totally, not blocked out, but kind of blanked it and forgotten that when I was at uni in our first year, in our halls of residence, we all went in together and bought and this is like men and women, by the way, so this is 18, 19-year-old men and women. I think it was 3 blokes and 4 gals who all lived together. We had like, it was almost like a little, I don't know what you call it, like our own little cul-de-sac, and it was all university accommodations. It was all brand new when we were there, actually. So we had a little 2-floor house share to ourselves, and then we were on each side and above us there were all these different house shares, and there were loads of them, and we hired a stripper to come there and strip for our housemate. She came and like onto this university campus, I guess you call it a halls of residence, but it's not within the university campus.
This is breaking news.
And that was really funny because we were drunk and at that age, but now you look back and like, oh my god, I can't believe that they did that, actually, because that would have been an adult woman doing that with a bunch of kids. Poor woman. I feel really awful that we did that now. But yeah, like strip clubs and stag do's and stuff, it's just not my place. I'm just uncomfortable the whole time, and that's not me trying to sound like better than I am or anything. It's just not a place where I feel comfortable, because I'm just so aware of the transactional nature of what's going on. There's nothing enticing about that to me at all. Some people clearly enjoy it a lot. So I found this really interesting, watching it from that perspective and being on the other side of the men being the ones that are definitely being objectified by the women in the crowd, but also are being celebrated for their athletic ability. There is a definite... Watching this film, it made me feel very like that was a different experience. If I'd been there and it was a real thing, I think there would have been a different atmosphere, because they are there to have a good time and to enjoy the showmanship, and to, if they enjoy this kind of thing, get up close and personal with the dancers. Yeah. Whereas when it's men, it's very lewd. It's very like, there's just a different seedy, dirty atmosphere to it. Whereas this felt more celebratory, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, more jovial. There's lots of laughing, cheering.
Yes.
Supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this kind of, I guess not all these strip clubs and male strippers are like this, but it is very, you know, in that initial McConaughey monologue, it is set up. Can you touch this? Yeah. And he's like, no. Can you touch this? But then he goes on to say, but there's no cup here. Yeah, so it is laid out that they are going to kind of push the boundaries here. So I think these women that are going, maybe not all of them, but the ones who have been before know what to expect. Because they don't look bothered when they get picked out of the crowd. They do look like they're having a good time. Yeah,
except for that one.
Oh, well, yeah. Now you're laughing at this, you know. I got judged when I admitted that I laughed at How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
I feel awful. It's not. I think should we explain the scene?
Yeah, please. Like, you explain it.
What's the name of that guy? I think he's underutilized as well.
Oh, the big dick guy.
Big dick guy, yeah.
What is he called? He is called
Joe. No, Big Dick Ritchie.
Yeah, Big Dick Ritchie. Yeah, so Joe Manganiello is the actor. He's gone on to be done quite a lot of quite a lot of stuff after this. So
he's probably the next one, like, in line, isn't he? I'd say after you've got Mike.
Before the kid comes in, probably.
Before the kid, anyway. Yeah. So obviously he's doing his solo performance. He pulls a lady out of the crowd. He lifts her up, and then
he like spins around into like holding upside down in like a 69 but standing up.
Yeah, and then sprains his back as a result. And I can't remember what their original point was about the objectification.
Yeah, and the enjoyment, but the joke of that moment is that she's a slightly larger lady.
Slightly larger lady, and I don't want to say it. I forced you to say it now. Slightly larger lady, and sadly, there is some mockery there.
It is played off for comedy, yeah, absolutely. You talking about the idea of, they would just, if they made Magic Mike XXXL, they make another sequel. I'm sure that doesn't happen in Magic Mike XXL. They don't kind of body shame it at that point. But in 2012, I guess, I don't know. Like again, it's almost like another point where they could have held that moment for a bit longer and seen her be annoyed, and like maybe there's more that could be done there, but they're too busy cutting away to get to the next moment and to get the laugh. And it's a really interesting. It's a really interesting movie, and I was really interested. I was up for watching this. I was looking forward to this through the project, and I knew it was coming up, obviously, and I knew it was at this phase of his career, and I was like, I've just heard lots of good things about it. I really was looking forward to seeing what the talk was about and to understanding how they had transformed this very superficial, surface level like concept into something that had some depth. And I think, unfortunately, it did slightly disappoint once we watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not a film I would be in a rush to watch again, but not because I'm bothered about the male nudity or any of that stuff, but just because there's not a lot to rush back for.
No, there's not. You're not looking for hidden gems, I don't think, under the surface.
No. But then, I don't know, I would still be tempted to watch the sequels to see what's going on there and to see whether they choose to push it in one direction and make it much more of a social commentary. I don't think they do. I think they push it the other direction and go much more like showmanship and go down the almost razzle-dazzle route, I suppose.
Because now you've talked about the budget, I do feel like it's... And like you talked about Matthew McConaughey being on a day fee, probably.
Yeah.
You can actually see that what they failed to do is merge... Like, it's almost like two films, isn't it? So you've got like the scenes in the club, which were probably shot over like like a week and 2 weeks at the most.
Yeah.
And then you've got the stuff that's going on outside the club, which Matthew McConaughey's character Dallas doesn't get involved with. So you never see him outside of the club.
No, other than like at a party. There's no exterior shots. He's at the club, or he's at a party, or he's at the gym in the gym workout scene. Yeah,
which presumably was all like this within the same locale, same set or whatever. So I think what because they've got McConaughey on the stage and they've got Channing Tatum as the crossover between the two, like the two parts of the film. What they've failed to do is really merge those worlds, I think. Is it realistic that... I mean, there's lots about this film that are not realistic, but like, is it really realistic that Channing Tatum will go to his day job of roofing and then that same night bump into this kid and take him to a club, and then he's forced on stage? All of that happens within like...
Well, it's the same day,
yeah, the space of a day. I know it's not supposed to be reality or reflective of a reality, but I think it's off, like, because of maybe the time frame, definitely because of the way it's been shot and failed to be like merged, I think, into a cohesive story. But
it is supposed to be realistic, isn't it? Because it is supposed to be based on events that have occurred in his life. It's not a biography of that era of his life, but it's coming out of some events that really did happen. So you can imagine some of the asides and some of the things that have been discussed, and some of the characters are people that he's really come across. And I do think that first initial section is reaching for realism. I mean, the two words I wrote down was that sense of kind of like the everydayness of the dialogue. It just sounds like people talking like you would expect people to talk in real life. And I think the acting in the first kind of half an hour or so was actually quite naturalistic. I sort of buy they're going for this almost kind of not documentary, but there's almost just like this. These could be everyday people just having everyday conversations.
What are you referring to, like behind the scene, like behind the stage, or are you talking about on the
all of that stuff, like the kind of like the meeting Mike and roofing, and then being in the club and chatting the girls up to get them to come to the show, and all of that. And the first time when he's meeting Brooke, and when they're all these things where the kind of dialogue's overlapping, and it's I felt like they were going for like a word I absolutely love, verisimilitude, where they're going for this sense of like, we want this to feel like this is real. These are just people, and we're seeing a snippet of their life, almost like this could be The Only Way is, I can't even remember where this is for, LA I think, isn't it? But The Only Way is this. The Only Way is Dallas. It's not, is it? It's Florida. It's Florida. This
Miami.
It's Tampa, I think.
Oh yeah, they're in.
The Only Way is Tampa. So I feel like they're going for that. So it's interesting you say that it doesn't hit that for you, because I think that's what they were reaching for.
I think
so they really have failed.
I think it's more the plot that feels realistic rather than like the dialogue or the interactions. So I think, but it does make perfect sense if they were on a tight time frame, if they had a little bit of money. And I guess if you are working, I mean, it's not a short film either. Like, you prepared me. It was like, what? It was over 2 hours, wasn't it?
I think it was just shy, wasn't it? 2 hours, maybe. Yeah.
So they do have time to explore 50. Some of these ideas. Much deeper.
Yeah, I was just having it as you were talking. I was trying to have a quick scroll to see if it. No, I can't find quickly like how long they film for. Often you can find that information. I just have done that little bit of research, I'm afraid. But you can see they were in Tampa for some location shooting, but most of it was shot like on set or in the studio where they filmed the dance stuff, and all of that was back in LA. So there's no doubt this would have been a quick shoot. It wouldn't have taken them long to film this at all, especially not with that kind of money, because you just can't afford to pay people for very long in order to get the coverage that you need. I don't know. It feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, and I'm surprised it's gone on to have the legacy it's had, really, now having watched it. I'll say it again, it's not a bad movie in any regard. It's perfectly watchable. It's got highlights. It's got incredible performances. In terms of acting, we'll get back onto McConaughey again in a minute, but also obviously Tatum's dancing. But it's not going to linger in my memory, and yet it's gone on and it's gone on, and it's still like there's literally a stage show that is in London right now, or you can go and watch. Yeah,
but I wonder if that legacy is linked to Channing Tatum. So does he produce the later films as well?
I think he's in all of them.
He's in all of them, okay, because I haven't seen any of them.
Despite how this one ends, obviously, where it looks like he's moved away from that world.
So again, very difficult to buy into when you know that's... Anyway. If it hit... for me, his legacy is not the stripping. And if I think even now of that film that we watched just a few days ago, I don't think of him and the film synonymously with like stripping. I think of him in that film as a dancer and dancing. And so obviously neither of us have gone on to watch the later films, but that feels like a better legacy. Maybe that's what he brought more to the franchise. I don't know.
I mean, they're actually not available to watch on any of the streaming services we currently have. Otherwise I would have not suggested watching them before tonight necessarily, but as and when they come on, I will suggest we
I wonder why that is.
Dip in and watch them, because it will be interesting to see whether they take it as in he is the new Dallas performer, or whether he is a stripper. What direction does he go in? Because McConaughey and the kid are not in the next one. I know that for a fact. I think there's a drop line about it saying like, oh, Dallas and the kid have gone off to start their own new franchise here and here. There's rumours that's because Tatum and Pettifer fell out on set. But then I was watching an interview with McConaughey earlier where he was talking about how from his perspective, everyone was professional, everyone was just having a good time, but people don't like to badmouth, do they? So it is interesting for them to set this character up and to have such a charismatic performer and character as Dallas, and then just to totally disappear out of the franchise does say something, I think. Maybe Tatum needed it to be a bit more about him.
But also you've alluded to Dallas's sinister side, and I think that becomes more and more menacing as the film goes on. So we open up with a very charming, charismatic Dallas, and then by the end of the film we kind of don't like him anymore. We're not rooting for him. He's revealed his true self. He's very quick to dismiss, not even give Mike a call and check that he's all right before he, doesn't do that, and hugs the kid and says, like, basically, you're my new protege.
Oh, Mike just walked out, you mean?
Yeah, and just me and you now, kid, and whatever. That's after promising, Mike the world if he goes in with him on this move to Los Angeles. And
that's to Miami, I think, isn't it? Yeah. They're in Tampa and they're going to move to Miami.
Okay. Yeah. I think I just made a couple of notes about that because it really stood out on the rewatch, like that simmering sinister side.
It's almost a bit of a stock and trade for McConaughey at this point. He's so good at it, because I think obviously for me it's more apparent probably because of the films I've watched him in recently. He does it in Mud, he does it in Killer Joe, where he's his usual charismatic self, and I think that's what's getting him cast in these roles, is that he is Matthew McConaughey. So you are immediately charmed by him, that accent, that voice, the kind of the weirdly Texan surfer dude vibe that he gives across, which doesn't make any sense, but that is who he is. But there's something simmering underneath. He does that in both those roles, and he does it well here, because even at the scene where he's after the first night at the club and he's counting, Tatum's character Mike has been counting all the money, and he comes up and he just starts picking up. There's just even something a bit off there. You're just like, I can just tell that this guy, you just know straight away he's going to do him dirty.
Yeah.
And that's in the performance, because he's not doing anything, he's not saying anything, he's collecting the money that they've earned that day. He should be doing that, but you can just tell. And McConaughey is that good at this point now, I think, in his career. And you're right, it builds and it builds and it builds. You can tell there's the big party scene later where he's already starting to think about how he's going to cut Mike out. He's becoming too big of a star for him. He doesn't like somebody overshadowing him. That's what it is, isn't it? And then by the end, he's essentially said to him, he's already reduced his percentage he's going to get.
Yeah, from 10
and by the end, he's just said, I'll do this without you, don't worry about it. McConaughey's, I think it's just almost like I said, his stock and trade at this point. He's so good. And it's interesting because he's played a couple of bad guys and he wasn't quite ready for that. It was too early in his career. And they were, as you were talking about at the start, too broad, too over the top, too kind of theatrical. Here, by now, he's learned that more is less. And it feels more dangerous and more sinister by being...
For those more subtle moments, I think. But, like, obviously, when he's on stage, it is...
Yeah. But that's where he's meant to be.
If we're talking about overacting, there's this one scene, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, where he's teaching the kid to dance in the gym, and Matthew McConaughey's wearing the short hot pants,
so and almost like 80s style,
and his tight vest, and they're looking in the mirror, and I just had a flash of Tom Cruise, a combination of Tom Cruise as Jerry Maguire crossed with Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. And he's just shouting into the mirror, "Fuck that mirror like you mean it." And it's just, I mean, if ever there was overacting happening, it was.
Yeah, I'm amazed they managed to keep a straight face in that scene.
Can I also add, because that person playing the kid goes from wooden can't dance in about the space of 10 seconds to suddenly being able to gyrate his hips in a very rhythmic manner in front of the mirror. So
well, I mean, he had McConaughey grinding up behind him, showing him what to do. I mean, those shorts were tight. I just wonder if the camera had to pan up slightly, because there was some serious close gyration going on. And even if you're not that way inclined, just sometimes a bit of a breeze, depending on what's going on. It's again, that scene is. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing at all, but I think that it's deliberate, right? They know what they're doing there. It's meant to be really over the top and really show. He's meant to be the showman here, and this is whether it works or not. This is where he charms the kid, and this is where the kid knows, because he does look uncomfortable to begin with, the kid, and kind of get it without sounding like there's anything wrong. He's not doing anything wrong, but I mean, it's almost like that classic scene you see in rom-coms where the man comes up behind the woman. He's like, "Oh, here's how you swing your golf club," and it's an excuse for him to get up close behind her.
Yeah.
They kind of play it off like that to begin with.
They do.
And then by the end, the kid's just sort of into it and is just laughing because of the natural presence of McConaughey, just having a good time and laughing. But yeah, it is.
Do you think McConaughey had license to write his own lines?
I don't know about. It feels improvisational, but that is another thing Soderbergh does, where he will let his actors
just go with
breathe in the moment. Yeah. So I think probably that scene he was probably just allowed to say and do what he wanted.
Yeah.
Because the whole Wolf of Wall Street that we'll get to, the whole like I think that was all improvised by McConaughey as well. So he's at a point in his career where he's being allowed to do that, and Soderbergh likes that anyway, depending on the movie. I imagine The Oceans are heavily scripted and they follow those letter by letter, but here, where he's being more experimental, he'll let things ride out and see where it goes. Because I think there's a few other scenes that feel like this is what's happened because the actors have taken it there rather than it feels deliberately scripted.
Another moment of in the film which feels a bit much is when they're having their beach day and McConaughey is there, like you said, for the only time I think we see him outside of the club, and he's sitting there drinking his red wine, which is fucking hilarious anyway, sat on a beach. Who takes red wine to a beach party? But anyway, there he is with his glass of red wine in the middle of the beach. Everyone else around him is drinking beer, being infants, and he's passing out life advice. And his life advice is, and I didn't get any further than when I have kids, because no one, well, I mean, I can't speak universally, I can speak for myself. There's no way that man is a potential father figure.
No. But again, no, yeah, I agree. That's everyone's looking at him in that way, though, aren't they? Like,
Yeah. I don't know, like, then Channing Tatum's character then does go on to make a joke of it with Brooke on the beach, but
he's saying like, "Oh, if I have kids, they're not going to go to school. Who needs school? They're going to put them in front of a TV, and they're going to watch the Finance Channel, and then they're going to be But again, that's where, like, I think that is improvised, but that is directed in that at this scene I want you to talk about finance, and I want you to talk about, because that's part of the the subplot, isn't it, part of the critique of capitalism and like, so that's how McConaughey has driven that scene. But I think he's been directed to like say something silly and say something Dallas would say about finance, and can you say it about a kid and watching these finance TV shows, and we don't really get those here, but I think they're quite a big deal in America, like these kind of shows about stocks and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yes. I think it's nice to see McConaughey having a good time. It's nice to see him utilising his skills again. One of those skills being, as we mentioned, getting his own stripping scene.
Yeah, tell me about his demands then to...
Well, I don't think it's a demand as such. I think he was just like, well, they're all having a good... To Soderbergh, I think. They're all getting their scene. Where's mine? So they were like, well, let's write you one in then. So it's right towards the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's because Mike's not... No, it is the night when Mike's not there, but it's the last night. It's the last night in Tampa. So he wants to do a dance. So assumedly that wasn't there originally in the script. But so he does his kind of like final hurrah, and at the start of the movie we see him, other than the actual introduction on stage, once Mike's gone off and he's had his roofing day and he comes to the club, he's fire breathing and he's learning how to fire breathe, isn't he?
Yeah.
So we finally get to see him do this on stage and get him to perform that. I mean, nobody's complaining, are they?
No one's complaining. No, he gets his moment.
Yeah, and it's very much in keeping with the rest of the stripping scenes.
Yeah.
In terms of depiction of what he's doing and what he's asking the ladies to be involved with. But it doesn't quite obviously have that natural dancer athleticism that the scenes that Tatum brings.
No, but he pulls it off.
Oh, well. That's what she said. Yes. No, he does. You're totally convinced that he is Dallas in that moment, and he is experienced in this world.
Yeah. What I really enjoyed was like the aftermath of that scene where he I wonder whether they were able to capture the moment he came off stage, and whether there's actually like that was like an organic reaction to having been on stage, and just the endorphins and just like the blood pumping and just like, because he comes off and he's genuinely exhilarated and like his line is something like, "Oh, I'm back, baby," or something. Something
I've got to do that again. Like, something. It's been a while, but absolutely,
something along those lines. And I just like, you know, those are the moments of the film that like felt more real. Then everything in the club was kind of, ironically, more comfortable with than in many ways I was with everything that was happening outside of the club. Because that almost felt like more awkward. You know, like the girl,
Joanna, that Mike's
not
sort
dating.
of dating.
Let's not call it dating, because it's not dating.
Yeah, she's doing like a dissertation on male strippers and basically just shagging around. But then plot twist has a fiance who's again like not really someone would work in reality, but like I guess what I kind of like about that subplot is that at the end of the day, it's not the objectification of her, which is what you think it is when you first meet her. So that opening scene with Mike is him just having had that threesome with two very attractive women, she's one of them, and then you kind of get the sense at first that like he's the player in that scene, but then like you said it yourself, like he's texting her or calling her throughout the film like 2 or 3 times, and you said like, just give it up, Mike, what are you doing? Like she's clearly not interested. And then you get that moment at the very very end where she's like, this is my fiance. It's very sex positive in that way. She's totally in control. She tries to initiate a threesome with Brooke and him as well on the beach. So she's an interesting character. And that actress, I think she was like a presenter to begin with, and then she's an actress. We've seen her in a few things. She was in Your Friends and Neighbours, the John Hamm TV series that we watched. She was the woman that he was having not an affair with, because he's already separated. But I guess she was having an affair with him. Olivia Munn is her name. So she's been in X-Men and some stuff as well. Like she's fine. But she's good in this role, and one of the things I read about the movie was that she doesn't normally do nudity, but she did for this because she felt like it was true to this scene. But I think because she does play a true character, and a character who is in charge of her life and has agency, and as I just said, is sex positive, I can see why she might sort of bend that rule here, because it's very brief anyway, isn't it? It's right at the start. It's like literally one shot as she's putting her top on. But I think it's interesting that in a film we've criticised, and I think we've justified our criticisms, that she felt it was a film that she was willing to break her own kind of rule for. She is an interesting character, for sure.
It's like, I think when she's got such an interesting arc, not so interesting, but like more interesting than Brooke. And then like, you know, her and Tatum are sparky, verbally sparky and sexy sparkly, and then you've got Brooke who's just like they just don't have that level of like connection and connectivity. It's a shame that her storyline kind of petered off. It didn't really go anywhere. It was
she's not the girl to escape the life, is she? Unfortunately, like Brooke is she's like she's not a nurse, is she? But she's assistant. So she works in a world. He sees her as the escape, doesn't he? Because she's a normal everyday 9 to 5, and that's what he seems to decide he wants by the end of the movie.
But ironically, that's where the other girl's destined to be. But it's her that doesn't want him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it's not even his choice. It's not even about whether he has her as an option in his future.
No.
She makes it clear that he doesn't.
Yeah. And Soderbergh again is very happy to play in these. Well, it's like his first movie was Sex, Lies and Videotape, which was already in the late 80s talking about kind of agency and sex positive, and he made a really interesting movie called The Girlfriend Experience, which is where he had a former porn star act as a escort, but she's acting, if you know what I mean, but she's from that world, so he's obviously very interested in this kind of world and trying to give women voice and ownership over what they do with their bodies, which I think comes through in this Joanna character as well, doesn't it? Speaking of women, but not their bodies, but their voices, the film that I was alluding to right at the start...
Are you not going to talk about Pitch Perfect?
I am going to talk about Pitch Perfect. What film did you think I was going to talk about?
I don't know. The full Monty or something, I don't know.
Well, and obviously this is the fuller Monty, isn't it? Absolutely. But as I was watching this, I was like, this fits into the Pitch Perfect mould for you.
Interesting.
In terms of
thought about that.
it has these performative moments and has a story around it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And obviously now I'm hearing, because we didn't speak about this very much after watching it because we were saving it for recording. Now that it's kind of fallen down a little bit because you haven't enjoyed this film on the rewatch as much as you thought you were going to. But I can see on a first watch, they're quite broad strokes, have similar setups and similar arcs.
I'm thinking about this now. James is delving into one of my guilty pleasures here, comparing it to a film that I do go back and watch.
Yeah.
Quite frequently. Maybe you're right. Maybe yes. I think for me personally, I was more in my Step Up, Save the Last Dance phase, and loved love a big payoff.
Right. Yeah.
So in that way, that Pitch Perfect does fit into that mold more than I think Magic Mike. So I hadn't really thought about it in that sense.
Having this kind of cast of colourful characters and this main figure that you're following who's really talented, and there's somebody who is kind of supposed to be on their side but isn't really. You get all these kind of tropes in Pitch Perfect as well. You do,
yeah. I just hadn't thought about it. I honestly thought you were going to go down the full Monty Sheffield route, because I think that came out actually when I was living in Sheffield, just after I left. So, but yeah, no. Now you think about it, there are definitely crossovers in the setup, and
it'd be interesting to watch them as a double bill, like back to back.
Pitch Perfect one though.
Well, you'd start with Magic Mike, wouldn't you? Because then you'd be like, yeah, that's all right. And then you watch Pitch Perfect, and it'll pick you up at the end, and then because you do get that big finish and that big ending, and then kind of the happy at the end. I don't know. I think there's some. It was just jumped into my head whilst we were watching. I was like, I'm going to save that. I'm going to talk about it on the podcast. I just thought, I can see. I don't know when Pitch Perfect came out. Do you? Like maybe around this era, maybe as well. I think you're right. 2011, 2012, 2013. I mean, 2012, the same year.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I had it in the back of my head. There's like this kind of parallel between the two of like. I
mean, Pitch Perfect is the stronger watch, and I'm not just being sexist because it's a group of women.
No.
But it is the stronger film, and the moments that happened not on stage are much, much better scripted, and I'm only talking here about Pitch Perfect 1 because it does go downhill after that, but the moments outside of band rehearsal feel more comfortable to me than the moments at the beach party or on the roof or whatever in the
interesting thing that they both might be made for a female audience as well, but go about it in a very different way. And obviously,
and they're both empowering for women, but in very different ways. Like I think Pitch Perfect is a phenomenally successful, empowering
celebration
of sisterhood and
a cappella
friendship and a cappella, working together as a group, looking out for one another, finding joy in the unexpected, and all of those things that you're supposed to do when you're in your early 20s. It kind of, and maybe this is an age thing as well, which we haven't really touched on, because McConaughey was in his early 40s when he filmed Magic Mike,
at least.
And then you've got Tatum, who is probably in his 30s.
I think they say he's 30 in the movie.
Yeah, but like,
whether he's in real life, but that's how I think they talk about Mike as being turning 30.
Like, these are like older generation old men now who should know better.
Yeah.
And like, so whereas Pitch Perfect, you get that you make mistakes when you're in your 20s and you're first going to university, like, and I guess we get that journey through the kid's trajectory in the film, like the mistakes that he makes.
Yeah, although he doesn't learn anything. He doesn't learn anything, but the start of his journey. Whereas you kind of expect more from, I guess. Yeah, Mike's in a
Tatum's
state of arrested
character.
development, isn't he, a bit? And
Yeah.
it's not... I think we were coming out of that cycle of those, the whole Judd Apatow, Will Ferrell era of Arrested Development being a hilarious comedy trope. We were coming out of that around this phase, and this is a more dramatic take on that, obviously, but to be 30 and to still be doing these things. And it is, again, commented on in the movie, isn't it? This is Brooke's whole thing of, like, I thought you'd have grown up out of this by now. It's time to get serious about your life.
But as you brought Pitch Perfect into it, this is exactly why Pitch Perfect 3 doesn't work, because they're like forcing an agenda that's no longer relevant to that age category, and it feels like maybe the age does matter in Magic Mike as well.
Yeah. Well, he's only going to be older in the next ones we watch.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
That's very assertive, James.
Thank you.
I'm not sure I meant that as a compliment.
I took it as one, though. So we're both a bit ambivalent on the movie. We're both a bit disappointed. There's things that are enjoyable, but didn't live up to your memory and didn't live up to my expectations slightly. Tatum is phenomenally talented. McConaughey is completely charming. All the way right to the end credits, where suddenly... Oh, and we didn't talk about this, that in the movie as well, and then during the end credits, actually, you disappeared. He's singing a song.
I heard the song.
Yeah, because it's in... We haven't talked about it. It's in the movie, isn't it? It's part of his final stage performances. He starts by playing the guitar, but then it gets reprised in the end credits as well. You were off. I'm done. I'm going to bed. And as I discovered and I discussed with you, a song that he wrote himself.
Yeah.
Ladies of Tampa. He wrote alongside, as I learned, his guitar coach, which I guess was there to help him learn the guitar for part, whether he's got it in life or what, I don't know, but he plays the guitar in this movie. And Martin Blasick and another person called Frankie Pine, they wrote Ladies of Tampa. So yeah, you missed out on the reprise during the credits.
I did.
And I think it's Ladies of Miami in the credits, so they change it up to reflect the fact that he's now moved on and they're in Miami. Yeah, but yeah, you get a real kind of showman performance, McConaughey.
Yeah,
comparing, dancing, singing, guitar playing.
Yeah,
it's a bit like when we watch Ewan McGregor in Long Way. You sort of think, I should hate this guy. Yeah. It's not fair to be good at all those things because they're really nice people in real life. And McConaughey does just always come across as a genuine person. I just dread the day. Please, nothing come out. I don't think it will. He just doesn't seem that type. But yeah, you should be sitting there thinking like, wow, why is this bastard singing and putting that off as well? But you don't.
It's not his best work, James. Come on.
No, but it's better than if you'd put me in that position with a guitar and singing.
Yeah, fair.
Harsh. Okay, I'm going to get your final review in a minute. Have a little think and have a look at if you've got anything else you want to say from your notes whilst I read a couple of letterbox reviews.
Okay.
For you to respond to. Let's go with a slightly negative review to begin with. Jeremy Source says, the dancing scenes were fun. Everything else wasn't. I feel like this movie tried to be a lot of different things and failed at most of them. I didn't care for the characters and any of the remotely interesting relationships. Matthew McConaughey as a toxic mentor, for example, were completely wasted. Also, why on earth did Steven Soderbergh think it was a good idea to colour grade the movie so literally half of it is piss yellow? Fuck! There are a lot... You won't... This is a technical thing probably you weren't even thinking about. But again, a lot of people complaining about all the outside exterior shots had this kind of yellow... sheen and tinge to it, yeah. But I think that aligns with some things you said, this idea of like it's trying to do lots and doesn't really pull any of them off very well, and people are the interesting characters perhaps we don't spend enough time with.
It's interesting as well, he's used the word toxic to describe McConaughey's character. We haven't, but actually those are kind of the character traits that we have been alluding to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
very quick to dismiss and replace Mike. Decrease, just his actions towards Mike.
Yeah.
And
everyone else, because we do, I think somebody else is, we hear about somebody else who was like replaced. So I think, there's, again, that's how we get that, we get that sense that it's going to happen to Mike as well. I think it's not the first time this has happened. It's a conveyor belt of people that he brings in and uses up and then gets rid of.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the etymology of toxic. I know it's been around for ages, but like when it became that word of like toxic masculinity, I don't know if by 2012 we were using that word.
I don't think we were using it in terms of toxic masculinity, but
he's a
toxic man.
Yeah. I guess I was just thinking
a mentor. I think that was what he said there. Mentor. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, you're only going to learn bad things from him. Yeah. Patrick, on the other hand, says a good time generally, but two disastrous pieces of casting almost sink the film. You can guess who these are going to be. This is a charismatic and unconventional approach to such a story, and the sequel is far more conventional by comparison, although more fun on the whole. This one thrives on the charisma of Channing Tatum and his dance moves, and the weirdo energy of Matthew McConaughey, who channels Joel Grey in Cabaret in his performance. However, Cody Horn, that's Brooke, and Alex Pettifer, and that's the kid, just plain stink in this, and they suck the joy out of all their scenes. This wouldn't be a problem if they were side characters, but they have almost as much screen time as Mike. How did Soderbergh decide on Horn? Well, we know that, when he had already cast Riley Keough. So she did get a small part. She's the pink-haired girl that the kid hooks up with.
Oh, yeah.
So she, according to this review, was originally going to be Brooke. She would have crushed it. Pettifer seems like a dick in real life, and you have to read up on his behaviour behind the scenes because he really seems like he let the movie down. That's why he's not back in the sequel. Gotta love Tatum's spinning, twirling moves. The guy is a Gene Kelly for the modern era. I wish someone would make him a dance movie with real class. A full-length version of his scene from Hail Caesar, which is a Coen Brothers movie that...
Yeah. No idea.
Thoughts on Patrick's thoughts?
I think we've spoken about most of them. Like it seems like the casting of the kid and Brooke is quite contentious. But I think we've already spoken about that. I don't think there's anything new from his review that we haven't touched on.
No. But interesting how that was a 1-star review to begin with and a 4-star review to end with.
Oh, really?
And we've spoken about most of these things on such a broad
But also, you wouldn't read that as a 4-star
spectrum.
review.
No.
Basically, the only thing he liked was Channing Tatum's dancing.
And Matthew McConaughey. Weirdo energy.
His weirdo energy.
Good enough to be 4 stars.
Oh.
Anything we haven't spoken about you have a burning desire to mention?
No, I think I've covered all my notes.
All right, and so then in your, I don't want to use the word limited, but your own, by your own admission, sort of sporadic, shall we say?
Yeah.
Understanding of McConaughey's filmography.
Yeah.
Where would you put it? Do you think this is one where you feel like it's a classic because it's such a good performance, or it's driving his career forward? Do you think it's worth catching because of what he brings to the role, or do you think it's for complete standing, like you should only watch it if you really want to do what I'm doing and watch all the movies from an actor?
So I think when I got excited about you doing McConaughey and thought about the films that he's in, I thought this is a classic. You have to watch it. And then my rewatch has now swayed me to, what was the middle one that you said?
Worth catching.
Worth catching. I still think it's worth catching. Mostly because you've got your classic McConaughey elements in it, right? He is funny. He is charming. There is subtlety and a bit of depth to his character. You get to see him sing, dance, play the bongos, play the guitar.
You get to see a lot of him.
Off.
Yeah.
I mean, just for the opening scene alone, it's probably worth catching. So that's where I've landed, I think. Yeah.
Fair. So McConaughey in Arseless Chaps is worth catching.
Is that, does he wear us? Oh, because he rips them off, doesn't he? Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and you? Am I allowed to ask you? Or
You are. Not very many people do, so thanks for asking. Yeah, no, they do. But I'm just here to host, not here to judge. But yeah, I agree. I think it's worth catching. I think there's enough fun in it, and he is good in it. And I think it's emblematic of what he's doing in this point in his career, that he's able to take roles because he wants that role, rather than he's taking the role because it's good money, or, you know, as we've discussed, this is because he wants to be here, not because he's being paid to be here. So yeah, I think it's worth catching, but I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed because I had high hopes for it, for the movie overall. But I think he in it is he's the strongest actor in this movie. Tatum's the strongest dancer.
Fair. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Cool.
Yep.
Normally at this point I ask people what they're going to promote, but
I'm not promoting anything.
no. Maybe just
Traitors.
other people will be promoting you, and the next time that they might want to hear you back on the show, that's all.
Yeah, no,
Before the energy, I mean, it's lucky this isn't a visual podcast because the energy is so ebbed away.
This is now my bedtime. So, wrap up.
Well, I hope you agree that show was pure, wait for it, you guessed it, magic. It was a treat to record with my significant other, and I hope it comes across and you enjoyed it too. If so, please reach out and we'll do it again. In the meantime, my thanks to Miem, and naturally to you two listeners, for continuing to engage and partake in this journey with me through the reconnaissance. That was Magic Mike. Next up in a fortnight, I'm going to be joined by Angry Andy to discuss Eminem's award-winning performance as Ron Woodruff and Jean-Marc Vallée's Dallas Buyers Club, for those that are watching along. Until next time, be excellent to each other, and make sure you take the time to treat yourself too. I am Jack signing off. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Cut.